What's up, everybody? Three of us or two of us. I'm in YouTube too. Hold on, let me put the banner up here real quick. Make her happy. There we go. How's everybody doing? Two other people. I hope you are well and doing fine. Been a casual day, man. We got slammed by storms, but I'll talk more about that later. I was a little worried. We got vertical. Well, hello, Miss Doe, Miss Vixen Doe. How are you tonight, dear? Let me switch back to comments. There we go. I hope you're well and enjoying what's so far of the week. Having a good hump day. Behold, good sir, and all that fun crap. Hope you are well. I didn't put the glasses on today. I should have. My eyes have been rough with the screens. I've been doing research at night and not sleeping, so that's why I've been wearing the glasses, because man, it's killing my eyes. Doing good. And hopefully, if you want to come try again tonight, we can try to get you on tonight if you want to come in. Hello, Smoochie. How are you? Yes, and all that crap. Now, we had plenty of thunder and lightning today and some vertical rain and sleet. And we had tornado warnings, the whole works, man. I thought for sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to have power or not. We were in the store earlier, and the lights kept flickering. I'm like, Dad, let's hurry up and get our stuff and get out of here before we can't buy anything because there's no power. But we got lucky. We got home, and probably about 5 or 6 o'clock, all heck broke loose. I can try. I have Wi-Fi again. Okay, well, let's get some people in here, and I'll shoot you the link, okay? And hopefully it will get sent. I'll have to email it to you. It'll come through Google. Well, I have Google, so I'll send you there. Yeah, I'd love to try to have you on again. I'm not Mike. No, you're not Mike Smoochie. I know that. I'm pretty much aware of that. And I may have to put the glasses on. Ooh. Screen looking at the game screen. That's another thing, too. Well, there goes my Wi-Fi. Oh, there it is. It's back. But I've been playing games, too. I am not. I go, see, I know you're not. You're goofy. You're as goofy as me. Misbehaving. Little misbehaving. There was a joke. I know it was. I'm not upset. I'm not. My humor may not be what everybody appeals. It may not appeal to everybody, but I do have a sense of humor. And if you don't like it, I do the best I can. My cigarette ran out. I'm going to try to have one at the beginning of the stream and not have it anymore. It's allergy seasons, man. I'm dying. I know that cottonwood tree is going to probably start blooming here soon. I usually get real bad, and with all the rain we've had, they're going to be really bad this year. I still haven't seen Kong and Godzilla Kong yet, but I'm going to go. I do want to see it in the theater. Oh, tell me about it. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going. I want to go, but I just haven't had time. And the weather's been crazy here. I just sent Gemma an alien joke short. Sure. Well, so she's probably getting ready for bed. I'll probably hear from her here soon if she's not watching me, spying on me. That's fine. She's the boss. Everybody else having a good week? No, I'm not. I just basically watch hers. I'm not a big fan of the shorts. Sometimes I'll watch the ones on Facebook at night when I'm bored. But I've been so busy lately. especially at night when I don't sleep. Last night was a weird night. I even tried to go to bed early. Saw Kong from Skull Island today. Good play. Yeah, I love Kong Skull Island. I loved it a lot. That's actually one of my favorites. Excuse me. Yeah, it is. And I can always tell when the cottonwood's going to bloom because I get real bad. And it's even worse once they start to shed. The yellow pollen kills you. Yeah, the flower. Just usually flower and wildflowers that have the yellow. 1 second here. Let me clear my throat. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, Vixen, hang tight and I'll send you a link here, mate. Send 10:30 sound good? If not before that, I'll let you know when I send it. See if we can get you on this time. I don't know if Ryan's doing an interview tonight or not. Probably taking a break. We were working pretty hard. He had other interviews too. Pine trees too. Now, see, that don't bother me too much. That sounds good to you? Yeah, it sounds good. That way you can prep, make sure you got everything and everything will work for you too. But yeah, other than that, I'm lagging again. Sometimes it's getting hard to use YouTube. It's like I'm catching up. It's like sometimes I have a really hard time running YouTube. Now, it doesn't, every so often it screws up during oracles or Tuesday talk. But for some reason at night it's worse. But we also have a major cannibal CME coming at us. So that might be it too. You know, I'm up north enough to see some of this big one. It should hit us anytime now. Ah. So Ghosty, you get the allergy prick test. I did about 2 years ago. I get them about every 3 to 4. It's nice because I used to be highly allergic to cats. When they did the prick test last time, nothing, which is good because I do like cats, but I couldn't be around them. They were so bad. They destroyed me. But your body changes every 7 years. Got to ride a motorcycle. Yeah, it's nice when you can ride. I can't ride anymore. And I'm even scared for people who ride now. People just don't pay attention anymore. If you live out in the country, ride all day. But man, in the city, I watch these guys almost get hit. Some of them are not very smart, so they think they can go anywhere on that thing. I'm just glad I don't anymore. How do you know what exactly causes the issue? Oh, I had a prick test. I do. And last time, like I said, it was everything that I usually bothers me, which is dust and dust mite and all that indoor stuff, which I keep pretty controlled. And then outside, it's usually cottonwood trees, flower, especially wildflowers, but I love them, so I grow them. I am glitching really bad. I don't know why. I've been having, it's so weird I have problems at night. I think I know why, and I'm going to have to adjust that. It's not me. It's upstairs. But yeah, I pretty much know what caused my allergies. My worst allergies were fall and spring. Fall, it's really bad. It's usually just the leaf and dander and all that. And then in the spring, it's just everything blooming. And the cottonwood trees are the worst, are my worst allergy, next to cats, but not anymore. I've been around a few and it seemed to be okay. So then I'll probably go get another prick test. What is this? Probably at the beginning of next year. I wonder if it'll stop if I turn this off. I like to have YouTube on, but yeah, as soon as I turn it off, it's fine. That's messed up. But yeah. So I don't have YouTube on anymore. So Yes, sir. Yeah, and it's scary because we went out today, and it's usually not busy on Wednesday. And we figured with the storms coming, we get out fast enough and get back. There wouldn't be a whole lot of people out today. Man, there was a lot of people running around today. I'm gonna try YouTube one more time because I kind of like having it on in case there's any problems. I can talk to you guys. Like I said, it's real nice here now. It's a little cloudy. It's trying to cool off. Well, hello, Edna. How you doing, Edna? Yes, please hit that thumbs up. I could really use them on my stream. Yeah. And folks, so you know, um, I don't. What happened? Did I freeze? Did I lose internet? No. What's going on here? I froze. See, as soon as I turn YouTube on, as soon as I turn YouTube on, and I don't like, see, when I turn on it, they don't have like a dark screen for StreamYard. You can make the background dark, and that's what makes me so. That's why I don't use any lights. I hope you're good, Edna, and I hope you're having a good day. I kind of froze there, so let me catch up. It is good to see everybody. Probably going to have Vixen on here in a minute. I'll send her the link. I hate this camera because I've lost weight, and this still makes me look chunky. You didn't freeze for me. I'm surprised because everything froze. As soon as I clicked YouTube back on, everything on my end froze. So, who knows? I know why it's happening because it only happens at night when I stream at night. And that's because he's running the game, computer, the TV. Yeah, I'm going to have Vixen on here pretty soon. We've got about 7 people in, so I'll probably call her forward here soon. Is she covered in bacon? I hope not. You guys would go nuts. I'm going to have to put the glasses on. It's just too bright. Hey, Heather Necky, how are you? It's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, young lady. Do me a favor. Make sure you come in Friday night for oracles. And Heather, I'll make sure you get read first, okay? In fact, I'm going to write that down right now on my list. And I'll make you and Mark my first ones because we kind of owe Mark, the poor guy, every time somebody new comes in, him and Cindy Lee seem to be the ones that get the person in front of him. So I want to make sure he gets taken care of right away, too. Looking for my pen here. What is my pen? There it is. Birthday. It's today. Yeah, my grandson's is tomorrow. Austin, 17th. Number 2. We'll make you number 2, okay, Heather? Just so you know. And I'll let Gemma know if she's not watching. She could be watching. Because we make sure we get those birthday people in. So happy birthday to you. Does an Irish jig. You're welcome, hon. You're very welcome. I'm just catching up on chat since I was writing it down. That's a good, happy. I hope you had a good day so far. My favorite little sis boy is tomorrow, too. Yeah, my grandson's tomorrow. Austin's. My daughter, Samantha. The one I went and saw the flag football game at. For those who saw me post on Facebook. I don't do that too often. I try not to put my family out there too much, but I thought it was kind of cool. He played it for the first time this year. He does play football during the fall with the pads and everything. He's a tough little kid. Good. I'm glad. I'm going to get ready to get Vixen in here. Hey, Vixen, if you're still watching, I'm going to get ready to send you the link here via email. Hold on 1 minute, folks, while I do this. I'm going to send her a link. And I'm sending your link now, Vixen. Did it send? Yes, it did. It's off. Hope you get it. Okay, yeah, I just sent it. So give it a minute. I'll watch for you in the back. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to find a way to adjust my camera because I'm really not this big. I got man boobs. I won't deny that. That was from all the freaking prednisone they gave me when I was having surgery done to keep me moving. My birthday isn't until November, but that's fine. I'm not trying to get older faster. I don't mind getting older. In fact, I'm enjoying it all the way. Well, hello there, Mr. Roger Blair. I hope you are well today. It's Heather's birthday, so I say happy birthday to Heather. It's always nice when people come in. I appreciate you guys. And when Vixen shows up, we'll have Vixen on. Let's see if she can get everything to work for her. Sometimes these links are kind of funky. There she is. Let's see if she can get logged in. Get herself adjusted. And she's good. Let's bring her in. Well, hello, dear. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I am very good. It's been a good day. Stormy day.
Am
Like
I
I said, I was
clear?
kind of worried about power.
Am I breaking?
Oh, you're doing great. It's
Okay.
coming in really good. You're good.
Must be the new Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, when I first started streaming over on the other side of the room, I had a lot of problems. And I think it was just because the Wi-Fi connection, because my son's got the modem and everything upstairs because of his he's got more game systems than I do. And I just basically have the two set up here and my extra laptop. I used to have like two boxes going, two towers going, the laptop going all at once, but it was killing me. So I cut down and split screen everything now. So what is your favorite thing that you like to participate in? I mean, of all the stuff that I know you go to festivals and stuff like that, and the Celtic and all that stuff. What is your favorite? How can I put it? What is your favorite event that you enjoy the most that you go to? Like, I know you like to go to Renaissance fairs and stuff like that, don't you? Didn't you say that?
I do. Yeah. But I think my favorite one is the big Scottish festival that we have in the fall.
Really?
It's on a beach.
Ooh. Are you close to the shore?
Pardon?
Are you closer to the coast or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is called Thomas Point Beach, and it's all Scottish.
Oh, really? That's cool. Now, see, my mom always was. We have a bit of Irish in us. She likes to think there was a lot, but it's just a bit. We're all Norwegian, and then once we came over here, we kind of became a mixed mutt. So,
yeah, I'm a mix, but we have a lot of the British Celt.
okay.
I have Scotch. I have Irish, Welsh. The whole, yeah.
Now you're also into the Native Americans too, aren't you? There from around there.
Yeah, because my grandmother's stepmother was Wabanaki. At least once a summer, my grandfather would have my father drive him up to the Penobscot Nation, but he would never tell us why.
Why?
And then I'm able to get up to the Passamaquoddy Nation at least once a year in the fall. They have a day. It's like a family reunion.
Okay.
but non-natives are welcome.
Oh, that's neat. That's
Yeah,
kind of
and
nice of them too.
yeah. So I have quite a connection. I was a preschool teacher for the Navajo Nation back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s.
Oh,
So
cool. You were, huh? I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, Now it's interesting because I try to catch the conversation you and Ryan have in chat, and I'm trying to watch everybody else, and then I get to rambling. Now, do you agree with most of the stuff that Ryan says?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, he's bolder about it than I am because I won't say any of the names out loud, like
Yeah, but I think
Skinwalk.
he does that so people understand.
Yeah, but yeah, and the elders don't like it. Um,
Oh, I'm sure.
but that's fine as long as he knows what he's doing. And
It sounds
yeah,
like to me. I've been talking to him long, for a while, and I've been checking out his interviews and kind of. That's why I've kind of grown to fondness to him because he has been. I see. It's like Gemma's the same way. We're real big about the respect. I mean,
yeah,
you got to respect what you're dealing with.
yeah, and
And
they've been
you gotta
dealing
be
with it.
careful of it.
Yeah, and they've been dealing with it for thousands of years, and I mean we've only been a handful of hundred.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, I've always wanted to kind of be around when we first came here because actually we know that the Egyptians and the Vikings were coming here way before their
yeah,
colonists. That is a fact.
yeah.
I wonder how they perceived these stories, and may have actually seen these things too. I wonder how they would have interpreted them because you don't hear because they kind of hide the fact. The Vikings and the Egyptians may have been here first. That
Oh,
they don't really say, but how would you think they would have reacted to these stories
well,
if they?
there is records from um, Newfoundland and Canada
Really?
of the Viking
Yeah. Well, I know there were.
settlements, and there was at least one record where they got along well with the First Nation peoples. There was trade and
I was going to say, I think there was a
interaction,
trend. Yeah.
and yet they had a palisade around their village that was at least 10 feet tall. So what was that to keep out if it wasn't for they weren't fighting with the First Nations?
Yeah.
So
What
what
were they
else
doing?
for
I
a
had
10-foot wall to be built?
Yes, and they were, being a Viking descent, they were very superstitious people in the first place, and they totally believed in dragons.
Oh yeah.
And I actually ran across somebody who still maintains his heritage, and in his family line, they speak of things that actually sound like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because he described one, and I go, that sounds just like a raptor, and he goes, yeah, I know, but that's the way they described him.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber. His name is Peter Hammerson, and he tells a lot of tales from Canada. And they have tales of dinosaurs.
Right.
This,
Because I know that
and they're quite recent stories
yeah, oh really?
that come out of British Columbia and places like that.
Well, a lot of people believe that um, pterodactyls and are the flying dragons in which they speak. And also in China lore, a lot of the early descriptions that I've run into sound like pterodactyls or something in that lines, a form of that kind of animal, more stretched out, longer in shape, which would come off as a dragon.
Well, South America, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent.
Yes. Yeah, and that's an interesting too, because that if you see the description of that, it's like it's an interesting because I've seen two interpretations where one it looks like a flying serpent. It's all stretched out, it's got the wings, and then the ones that you see in most of the things. But yeah, it's always amazed me. I'm trying to come up with a question because I didn't expect to have you, and I try to be a little organized. But yeah, I always wondered a lot, what were they seeing? Because if you look at even in cowboy movies in history in the West, they were building these huge fences. Now you got to remember the Indians and the Native Americans really haven't started getting guns and stuff until that kind of trade started. So at the beginning, why were they building these huge forts and these huge walls? Some of those walls were 20 to 25 feet tall.
Yeah. And they was building their dwellings up on high cliffs with no other way to get up there.
Right. Oh, yeah. Those I've always been impressed with. I was always trying to get somebody to go down to the Grand Canyon with me and go actually try to figure a way down because it's treacherous. You got to really know what you're doing. But, they're still finding stuff down there. And the government's real picky about getting down there in the first place. They're, from what I understand, they actually have guard stations down there hidden away.
And I guess they have no-fly zones over certain areas of the Grand Canyon.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. In fact, if you get on a fly map, you can actually see where planes go around. Yeah. And it's really interesting to watch. It's like, why are they going all the way around? They cut through and be so much quicker. But there's a couple places like that up north, too. I think there's one in Michigan, one in Minnesota, where there's an area where they fly around and nobody can figure out. Now, the one supposed to be a portal to hell. And I think that's the one in Michigan. If somebody knows, nobody talks about it anymore. Yeah. But the actual Pope actually had them fly around this place. And it was pretty wild. And that was probably 10 years ago.
Oh.
Hold on. I'm going to, little lady saying good night. Good old Gemma. And I'll say good night to her later. If she sneaks on, she'll know I say goodnight. But yeah, so what do you think about all this? The way people are handling this, everything's a skinwalker, everything's a Wendigo or Shadow Man. It always cracks me up that every time a little ghost comes along, it's always a little girl. What do you think about all that?
I think the entities like the Skinwalker and Wendigo, I think they're regional. I think they're not going to go out beyond like Skinwalker might be, like the Four Corners area, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. The Wendigo.
I think like Ryan says, you got the Four Sacred Mountains.
Yep.
And then you have, every Wendigo, true, even good story or encounter I've ever heard always comes from the Northern Territory.
Yeah, Canada, yeah. But like other entities, ghosts are worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
Bigfoot, Sabe, they're worldwide. different
see, I don't think
names,
everybody.
but
I think everybody thinks there are a lot of newcomers that think the Bigfoot are the same everywhere, and they're just like a race of just like us. There's races of them everywhere.
yeah, I think that.
I'm still saying goodnight to her. Bless her heart. Oh, she's gonna make me new thumbnails. um, let me say this. Gotta do this real quick. So, so I know you kind of involve yourself in a number of different things at home. Are you into crystals like? Oh, I know you are, and like Pixie and everything. Are you into those kind of?
Yeah, and I've taken my first step in doing Reiki.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See,
energy healing. I took my first course in that, and I'm thinking about taking a 50-hour course this fall and winter.
I don't mean to be rude. It's the boss.
No problem.
Yeah. Trying to think as I type too. Now you say you go to the. I'm not even tempted to say their names. Don't, is this like a annual thing that you go up to these natives? That's the best way.
Oh,
I butchered
Passamaquoddy.
the names, and I actually had one person really jump my case about it. It's like, dude, I can't help it.
Well, the Passamaquoddy, I mean, they've opened it up to non-natives, so that's that's something that everybody can go and learn from,
Now,
because
are they more up around? Where are they located in?
they're um they're right on the Canadian border practically.
Oh,
Eastport,
okay,
Maine.
really.
Yeah, Eastport, Maine.
Oh, okay.
That's up near the Canadian. That's not too far from Calais and St. Stephen's.
Oh, really? I see. I'm now. You're in Vermont, right?
No, I'm
You're
in Mid Coast, Maine. I'm down
Maine.
around.
I
Yeah.
always get you and Edna mixed up. Now, is Edna? Is she Edna? Where you? Where you? See, I always get those. I get that northern half mixed up. I get the states mixed up there. For some reason, I have ever since I was a kid. Because I know northern New York is right, and then is it? I'm trying to also frame it in my head. Um, it's northern New York? Is it Maine, then Vermont, then New Hampshire? I'm going to have to pull up a map.
Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts. I guess Connecticut, New
Oh
York.
yeah, no, see, I forgot about Connecticut. That was pretty amazing because I screw up the capitals more than anything. But when you get on that tip, I always screw those up every time. Every time. Once I get past New York, I blow it.
Yeah.
Because I know what Maine's the biggest one up there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maine's the biggest of the states up in that area, if I remember right, without looking at a map. Now I have to look at a map.
Yeah. Well, Maine and Massachusetts, acre-wise, Massachusetts might be bigger.
Okay,
Kind of
yeah.
hard because of It's
I'm
kind
looking
of
at.
hard
I
to.
look at a map. I feel dumb now because I totally blew a blank. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, it's sad when I do that because I do that online. Not if I'm not online, I'm pretty good. Trying to get everything figured out here.
But the shape, the shape of the state can be um, confusing.
Yes, it gets kind of
It,
crazy up in that area.
it doesn't show, how many acres. Yeah.
No. We'll just move on because it's horrible. I'm from Maryland. You're from Maryland. Okay. Goodness. Edna's from Maryland. Okay. Now I got it right. Maine and Maryland. See, I also knew a person that lived in New Hampshire. And they spoke of, I believe, Native Americans there that lived really close to the shore, but I can never remember who it was. And they said that they find relics all the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time up around in that area because they live. I mean, they live by cliffs that really you fall off, you're right in the ocean. So because they talked about moving because they were saying it was starting to erode.
Yeah.
And things were starting to fall in, and so they were looking for a new place. Oh, you're in New Hampshire, Mike? I didn't know that. Now, see, I'm learning now. Let's get more to the paranormal stuff and spiritual stuff because I know you collect. What is your favorite crystals?
My go-to is the Apache tear.
Now, what's that look like?
It's obsidian.
Oh, okay.
It's volcanic glass.
Yes. I'm learning.
Smoky quartz.
I think I have some of that.
Hmm?
I think I have some of that. She sent me a bunch. Every time Gemma sends me a box, she sends me a little bag full of little ones. So
Yep.
I've got them all piled around my Dr. Fate here. So because I figured that's the perfect place to put him because he's got like a little thing he stands on.
Yeah.
Now, see, I think that now, and that's what this dragon I'm wearing is Orbison this here, right? I love this. Everybody compliments this and this one here. And then I also love the lava beads. This reminds me of the old one I used to wear when I kickbox. It's like a crucifixion.
Oh yeah.
Crucifix.
Yeah.
A rosary, but it wasn't. And it was really nice. I had an issue with somebody and they ripped it off, and I never I just didn't have the heart to replace it. I didn't feel that I earned to replace it, as one might say. Someday maybe I will. But yeah, now I really love the one I got here. This is one of my favorites. It's the pink. Now see, I'd have
pink
to
quartz, rose quartz.
Yeah, rose quartz. This is my favorite one. I'm actually thinking about. I've been looking at tumblers because I live down by. There's a creek and then the old Tangy River's right here. And some of the stuff that I find, I see this one kid goes down. He always comes back with a handful of rocks, and they put them in their tumbler. And man, what he finds is just amazing out of that creek bed.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to get one and polish them up and see what I find and send them out to people just for fun. There's a guy on one channel that's all he does is rock riverbeds. And then he has one of these really nice polishers. It's got like 7 different polishers and a what they call a water bath. And he sits there and cleans them goes one step at a time. And the rocks, the stones, and the gems that he pulls out of that, out of those riverbanks are just amazing. It's like, wow. I mean, I'm like really shocked how beautiful they really are when they're cleaned up. So I'm not a very good host, so I wasn't prepared for this. I'm glad you came on though, because I really wanted to have you on because you and Ryan are the ones I wanted to hear talk. I'm a listener at times. That's why I don't talk a whole lot with Gemma. That I listen, and I only speak when I need to. So let me see. Now you're not into the Wicca and everything. Are you into all that?
I
I don't want to. I don't want to say witchcraft because I hate
no,
that word so passionately.
because it's been so misused
Right.
and people have, I mean, people have really suffered because of it. And no, I lean toward Celtic Christianity.
Okay.
We believe in one creator.
Right.
The teachings of Jesus from the gospel.
Right.
We don't believe in a eternal hell.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think I would know that.
It is, hell is a place where your soul goes to get rid of all the dark, negative stuff that it's accumulated in this lifetime.
So basically, it's like a stopping point to cleanse yourself.
Yeah, and
Okay.
once your soul is clean and been cleansed, it just journeys on and
To the next.
reconnect with source.
Okay.
You came from source into this life as a pure soul, and you go back to source as a pure soul.
Okay. And it makes sense to me in a lot of ways. I wasn't raised that way, but yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's one thing I have when I've studied all religions. And I don't deep dive. There are some I did definitely deep dive into. Is that a lot of them do talk as hell as a cleansing point. I just didn't know it went that way with the Celtic Christian belief, which now makes more sense now that I understand it a little bit more now. Interesting. Now, are you? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
A lot of the Celtic comes from when the Roman version of Christianity came to the British Isles.
Right.
They had the Druids, and what they're thinking is that the Druids, I mean, they were supposed to have been wiped out on Anglesey.
Right.
The island of Anglesey.
Right.
Well, what they're thinking that a lot of they went underground,
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Infiltrated the churches and brought in a lot of the old religion practices. So yeah.
See, now I understand that because does everybody finds a way to survive, and that includes religions. They carry on in one form or another, even when they break away, they take a part with them. Yeah. And I knew that had happened. Because you still, a lot of Christianity, like Christmas, Halloween, those are all of those faith lines, as one may say. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I know that they had penetrated the Catholic Church, and then the Catholic Church kind of woke up to it, and that's when you get the Dark Age stuff coming in, witch hunting and everything else. Because that was the Catholic Church retaliating, saying, "Hey, no more. We're not doing this anymore." And they gave you the look of Satan and the horns and all that. Is when that all started creeping in, as when I say. But yeah, Edna agrees with you. She believes the same. I believe. Hello, Ralph. I didn't say hi to a few people to pop in. Hello, Latro and everybody. Ralph, it was good to see you. Mike, I did not know. I think you have said this before. Been Wiccan for over 40 years now, personally. So that's interesting. I did not know that. Latro's drinking wine from Transylvania. I bet it's good too. I bet it's good. Is it red? I have to make that comment. Yeah, I'm going to see and have anybody said anything or asked any questions. Anybody have any questions for Vixen? I kind of spontaneously did this, and usually I'm a little bit more prepared. I usually, when I'm with an interview, that's why things kind of was with Ryan last Wednesday, is I just kind of go with the flow. I'm the guy that goes with the flow. Because I like to be in the middle, like when we're doing the Tuesday talks. What I like to do is I'll bring up the subject and then let them go to it. You know what I'm saying? What would you like to talk about that maybe some of these folks would like to hear? Is there anything that you would like to convey, or along the lines of skinwalkers, or crystals, spirituality, something that you would like to say that somebody? Oh, I didn't. Oh, I know that Mike stated that they believe in goddess and God both throughout the dual polarity. Yeah. Yes.
And we believe that God is both male and female. That God doesn't have a gender specifically.
Well, I don't think he does either, really.
God can be called mother. In fact, there was a Baptist minister who wrote a book, and it was called Can We Call God Mother? And it's considering the feminine face of God.
Well, go ahead.
And there's two books in the Old Testament, Proverbs and the Wisdom of Solomon, and it's talking about the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God has a feminine voice.
Right.
So
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. His term, universal parents.
Yeah.
That I like that. Universal parents. That's kind of a good way to say it. Actually, Smoochie wants a little know what you know about. Where did I lose it? I lost it here. Wait. Here we go. Let's move on. Ghosty, I don't know what you're talking about. Here it is. Oh, she would like to know more about Native beliefs in your area.
I guess the biggest paranormal one is Paloma. The entity that is the protector of Mount Katahdin, the great mountain of Maine. Mount Katahdin is considered sacred by all the First Nations. Okay. And they will go to it, but they will not climb it because it's sacred. And right. Paloma is a man figure with the head of a moose, the wings of an eagle, legs of a mountain goat or horse. It's a
interesting.
Paloma.
Okay. I'll have to go look that up. Do I come back and write it down? Have somebody spell it for me, but I'll find it.
Paloma.
Okay, thank you. I'll make sure. I have a list going of things I need to go look up.
And
I'm a clipboard guy, so I have a thing that has on one side is things to do during the day, and the other side is nothing but research that I want to do. And I cross it off as I go.
and let's see. The supreme God or being in the First Nations is, if I can pronounce it right, Gluskapi.
Luska.
Gluskapi.
Luskapi or Huska?
Glue. GL.
Okay, Luskapi.
Gluskapi.
Okay, got it.
And he's the supreme being. Dogmen have been starting to be reported. We're getting stories around Maine of dogmen.
Dogmen have always interested me for about 4 years now. I'm still kind of iffy on them.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. Only because the dogman would have to be we all know the difference between a werewolf and all that. The dogman to me seems to be more of a chimera kind of thing. Somebody created this either a long time ago, and it just has managed to survive all these years and move around and migrate just like everybody else. Or it's something new, because you got to think the Dogman reports haven't only been around now 10 years, 20 years tops. Other than small reports, it didn't really become a big thing now for, I've noticed, maybe the last 10. Yeah. So I could be wrong, but that's when I started seeing more and more reports of them. Do you believe the same, that they are created, or are they something that was?
I don't know. Some First Nations, I think, I'm not sure if it was the Navajo, but it was out that way, that they talked about a dog-headed people. But I haven't really
looked into that. Or, Ryan actually is very involved with the Navajo and all them out west. So, I mean, I give him, whoa, I lost you. You back? Okay. How'd you worry? I'm having a funky time with my internet now. So, but yeah, it's interesting because, when I've talked to him, it's amazing that he's not to do what he did in the first place was risky about just walking in and asking.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's the best way to get results. Not always a good way, but sometimes you get lucky. And he got lucky.
Yeah,
and it must have been the way, and it also is how you present yourself too, I think. Because I know from some of the Crow people I know that still are here in Ohio, heritage, they are real big about, as long as you show respect and kind of, I call it the gentleman way. They are they'll talk and be polite with you. So he had a lot of, I got to give him a lot of guts and go ahead for that, because he really opened the door for him out west to really talk to a lot of those nations. And I think that's great, because he it's like you said, I agree. It's scary to talk about this stuff because of, the more you talk about it, the more you have a chance to bring in it. But there is so much misinformation being done. Some of these, I blame a lot of it to like the top 10 paranormal shows, the top 10 scariest video, and then they give their own little interpretations and stuff like that. There's only a couple of those channels that do that actually delve into the video and give you the right information. But there are a lot of these guys, they just play everything off as either a Wendigo or, Skinwalker. Oh, this is Skinwalker. It's like every pale crawler you see in these videos, they want to call them Skinwalkers. I've only once heard one of these top 10s call them by what they were. And that's been Nuke and a couple others, but it just cracks me up because how they just, because those words are out there, they just assume, hey, Chris, they're just, that's what everything is. How do you feel about that? I mean,
Yeah, I think, and it also depends on, well, sometimes your belief system, what you
yes,
have been taught to believe that these things are. Everything people believe that there's no such thing as ghosts, they're all demons.
right. Yeah, see, now I hear that a lot. For a guy that
Yeah.
sees what I see, because I mean, I've seen a lot, but the majority of the stuff that I see since I became a young adult is the stuff that's following other people.
Yeah.
That's the majority. Like when I'm with Gemma or other people like her, then I see other stuff. So I always said, after I grew up and realized and learned some things about myself, that all the things that I've seen in the past that were not like following the people, because I've seen some weird stuff, that it was because somebody else in the group I was with had a gift and didn't know it then, or may not have even spoke of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's when I see stuff, is when the stuff I usually see by myself is usually following other people. The majority of the time, the stuff that I see outside of that is because I'm in a situation where I wasn't expecting it and it happens. Do you understand what I'm saying? But we've gone ghost hunting. A lot of the reasons I don't ghost hunt anymore was I was always afraid that I would bring it back with me. And then I started realizing that when you go looking for something like this, you may not want to find what you're looking for. And we've had that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a dear friend because we went to a place and saw something that was definitely not good. I wouldn't say it was a demon, but it was definitely a spirit that had gone very sour. And this guy saw it too. And he was never the same. And I honestly believe his health declined really fast after that. And I think the thing we saw, because you can't give it a name. I can't give it a name, what we saw. It was just something that shouldn't have been there or has been there a very long time. And the house we were in was an abandoned house with all the stuff still left in it. So the people left quick. When you see stuff still sitting in a house, that means it wasn't just an eviction. There was something happened in that house.
Right.
This thing was sour. I could tell it was a human spirit, but it was sour. I think it attached to him when we left because his health went bad. He had gone, I would say it was almost 4 months after we had seen it. He was gone. His wife said he had nightmares every night. Just couldn't shake this thing. It just haunted him. And he had, my friend Thomas tried to help him. So I stopped doing that stuff because of stuff like that. And it's just like anything. You go looking for something that's not really should be looked for, and when you find it, it's going to take a toll on you.
Yeah.
I think you feel the same way, don't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing like cemetery walks.
Now,
But
see, on
go
those, on cemetery walk, my view is if you're going to do stuff like that, don't go with the intent to look. Before you enter, go with a clear soul,
Yeah.
clear mind. Whatever happens. I always say the last time I went, I told everybody, let's just go and enjoy the environment. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not look at the creep factor. Let's just go wander around. Don't ask for anything to show itself. Don't acknowledge anything. Just take pictures, do your thing. Just don't call anything out. You might be surprised what just happens to try to get your attention. Don't acknowledge it. And it seemed to be pretty good because a couple people did catch stuff. but that was the last time I actually went, and that was probably 22 years ago. So it was a while. So yeah, if you do that, you want to go with that intent.
Yeah. That's why I'm just thinking about it. I haven't really decided on whether or not I'm actually going to do it. But
It's good to do. Just like I said, you and again, it's back to that respect thing. You want to have the respect. I live 3 houses away from the cemetery. Even though we played Ghost in the Graveyard in that cemetery, we had rules that we set amongst ourselves as kids that you stay away from fresh graves. If you run across graves, you ask. We always said, "Pardon us," which was always seemed to be the most respectful thing. Nobody ever got bothered other than one time. I think Gemma read the story. I gave the encounter to Gemma. We used the gates that's into the street. There's actually a main road you go down that you're supposed to use, but the workers use our street because it's a big open gate and it's 2 posts. It's nothing fancy, just a chain link fence. And we'd play soccer in that way because not too many people would go in and out of there. So it'd be a good place, to use as a goal post. And we would kick the ball in and out, and somebody would try to block it. And the ball took off one day over a bunch of tombstones. And we were arguing who to go get it because one friend of ours, Mike, was really creeped out that day about going in. He just seemed very uncomfortable. And finally, we went and Todd, I think, went and got the ball. Went to go get the ball. Mike says, "No, I'll go get it." And he went and got the ball. It was behind him. It was like tombstone, big shrub, tombstone, another big shrub. And the ball had gone over that second set. And you saw Mike disappear. And then all of a sudden from the other side, you see it looked like a little boy. And we all kind of like, who's the kid? And Mike would yell, "I don't see a kid." And go, "There's a kid standing in front of you." And you couldn't see his body because of the tombstones. And then all of a sudden, you hear a conversation. I think I even say the conversation. But you hear Mike scream. Then you see the ball come flying back, and Mike runs out of the cemetery. He wouldn't talk to nobody for like months. And he said that it was only half a body from the waist up. The kid had no eyes. And the kid said to him, "Can I play? Can I play? Can I play? Can I play?" And it freaked him out. And all he wanted to do was play. Yeah. He said the boy was the one holding the ball. And that's how the ball came back over the shrubs, was the boy threw the ball. And then after that, he's another one that's had a rough life. He fell into addiction. He's clean now. But yeah, his sister says that they never left him. Never left him. So yeah, just be careful going into the cemetery. Oh, yeah. If you protect yourself too. But yeah, I haven't done it for a while. But like I said, I'm thinking about streaming once we get good weather. I'm still talking about streaming down there if I can get my Wi-Fi to reach, because I'm pretty close. But there's a bench and a little area down there. And I've already talked to the cemetery people. We have a police department that likes to sit down there and do a shift change. And I've already talked to them, so they know if they see me down there, I'm not doing anything, crazy. So I'm still planning on doing that. So go for it. Just take plenty of pictures.
I will do that.
Yeah, good. It's good pictures. Trying to catch up with chat here, see if there's any questions. So, I'm trying to think. I thought I saw a question. I guess I didn't. Did I? I get to wrap it. I'm sorry. But yeah, where's the cemetery at? How old is it?
Oh, I found a book on cemeteries all along the east Maine coast. But I mean, there's several local cemeteries. I mean, I live in a trailer park right now, and there's a cemetery as you turn into the park. There's a
And I bet
cemetery
they're old
right.
cemeteries too, right? That probably is fairly
Yeah,
old.
yeah. Um, Belfast. I live in the town of Belfast, and that has a large cemetery right on the main
Right.
street. Um, yeah, there, we got cemeteries all around.
Yeah,
So I
see,
mean,
we're pretty
doing
spread.
one.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now
No,
you're
they're not spread out too far.
no. See, ours are spread out pretty far, but I mean, I got one here, and then the original Worthington Cemetery down in the middle of the green. There's a small, very small cemetery by the churches. I think that's a lot of the founders of Worthington, but the rest of them are pretty much outskirted. There's not too many in where I'm at. You have to pretty much go out, except for Green Lawn, which is probably the most famous cemetery here, other than the military cemetery that's on Broad Street. There's a Fort, Fort Dixon, one of the old cavalry forts there on Broad Street, and it still has they've maintained that graveyard, and it's pretty wild because people talk about seeing stuff there all the time.
Hmm.
Soldiers, old war soldiers, cavalry soldiers. Now you'll probably go see, if you take pictures without, I call it taking pictures without intent. You'll probably catch a lot. You probably will. Would be my guess. Especially if you go. I always found it good to go. Back in the day, we like to go either right before a thunderstorm, crazy weather,
Oh
or
yeah,
right after, because the
yeah. The energy of the yeah,
energy is charged.
yeah,
Also, on full moons and on new moons when there's no moon
yeah.
at all, is we always found to be really good times to go. I don't think a lot of people probably even knew that. A lot of people don't know that, and I never would go on Halloween. They used to try to get me to go on Halloween back in the day, and I wouldn't go on Halloween. Used to go. Just Halloween's a rough time for me. I love the holiday, but that's when I seem to get all my bruising.
Huh.
And I think it only happens around Halloween. I call it their revenge night for all the times I see things ever since I was a kid. And it started when I was about 15, 16 years old. After those Halloweens, I started waking up with bruises that look like burn marks on me, especially if I saw a lot of things following people the weeks prior. So it's like the more I saw before the holiday, that Halloween, the more bruises I would wake up with. Over it would start. The bruising would start around the 28th, and it wouldn't end until about the 2nd.
Yeah.
And I would wake up with these burn, and it's wild. Maybe people would freak out. It's like, why do you always do it around the holiday? I think they just get revenge. That's when they're strong. So
The veil is thin.
then, and you got some pretty not good people out there practicing those nights.
Yeah.
And we all know that there's dark magic that's being practiced on those nights. So I think that heightens it for me too, where it's just I become a target because now it's not as much as what I see. It's when I see what I see following people, it's now the curiosity with me is not what it is it see me back? Because a few months ago, I'm pretty sure things were seeing me too, which was never the case before. And that's starting to bother me. And that's when things started ramping up for me and calmed down. Now it's ramping back up again. We were out today. I was lucky. There was hardly anybody. For as busy as it was outside, we went to Sutherland's, which is like a hardware store. And there was only a few people in there. Not a thing. The only time I saw anything is when we were in General Dollar. And every time I walk in that place, I always see somebody being followed. Always. There's just certain places, like I said, like General Dollars, stores, carryouts, gas stations, always at gas stations. I hate going and filling up the tank because every time I go get gas or smokes or something, there's always somebody being followed by something. Always. Which is weird. And hospitals, but hospitals a whole different ballgame. Now, do you see stuff like that by any chance?
No. And I've been celebrating, well, in the Celtic, it's Samhain, Halloween, Samhain. And last few years, I go out with sage I'll go out on midnight of Samhain Eve and the night of Samhain, and I will burn sage and I will say a prayer of blessing and farewell to the souls that are crossing the veil.
Really?
Yeah. And
I'm watching. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just trying to keep it going. Go ahead. You're doing good.
And I remember one year. No, it happened it happened one Samhain. I said my prayer and blessing of farewell, and these points of light just floated up from the ground into the air, and there must have been hundreds of them.
Oh wow!
Just these little specks of light just raising up from the ground.
Twinkles. I wonder if it's like the twinkles I've seen in some places that I go. They're like twinklings of light.
They weren't really twinkling. There was just these points of light just raising up from the ground.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then the next year, the next Samhain, I did it, and there weren't as many lights, but I know there was a couple that seemed to come to rest in a tree across. It was on somebody else's land, and it winked off and on.
Really?
Yeah.
Could have been sprites, because that sounds like sprites.
It could have been a fairy, a sprite.
Yeah, because that sounds like sprites. Because when the cloud formation, when they see sprites in the sky, that's why they call them sprites. Is because sprites kind of give off that same kind of beam points of light when they're seen on the ground. So it was only right to call the sprites that you see in the sky sprites, because they kind of look like the same thing.
Yeah. No, this was just a little light. It come off the ground, and then it kind of rested in a tree, and then it kind of winked on and off.
Wow, that's cool as crap. Now, see, the only thing I've seen is there's some locations around here in Ohio, a couple more mounds, where I've seen, it's like a lot of people. The one guy that I was with, he called it stardust. Like stardust. To me, it was like I called it the twinkling is what I call it, because I would, every time we'd gone, I would say, "Are we going to see the twinkling tonight?" There's a mound in just north of Chillicothe, the Hopewell Mound, and there's Medina mounds, and I've also seen them at the Snake Mound here in Ohio, right at the mouth. They say it's an egg, but a lot of people say it's fruit. And then mouth, in the Snake Mound, it holds they say it's an egg. In the center of that, every time I go at night, because we get in at night, I get lucky sometimes. I got a friend who's a ranger, and every time I've gone there at night, I've always seen this twinkling coming out of the center of that, and it's always fascinated me. Every time I've tried to take a picture of it, it never comes out, but everybody that's there will testify that it happens every time we're there, and it's neat because it's like, what is going on? I mean, it's like a straight up. It's like it is. It's like spirits. I don't. It's like something coming and going out of that ground right there. Like it. Nobody's ever had the guts to go stand in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just always observed it from just far enough away. Because we've talked about, should we go try to stand in it and see what happens? But nobody's had the guts to do it, not even me. And I'm usually pretty good about being. I'm pretty curious. I'm that guy that hears a noise. I don't run from it. I run to it. So it's pretty neat that you saw that. What is your views on the Fae? Do you have a lot of stories of Fae up in that area?
Not much.
Yeah.
I know I've seen, well, these little points of light that was coming up off the ground on Samhain nights. But I remember I was walking through a field along a tree line.
Right.
And it was a hot summer day. There wasn't hardly any wind at all. And I noticed this little twig on a tree almost over my head, just jumping up and down. I mean, it was the only thing moving was this little branch, and just with these little 3 or 4 leaves just jumping right up and down. Yeah. And I just smiled at it, kind of waved, and walked on by.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Mr. MBB3.
I'm subscribed to his channel.
He's had all those videos with the trees and bushes that just have one out of nothing else is moving, but one is just.
That's all this was.
Yeah.
That's all this was.
There's video of a guy, and I'll have to see if I can find it, from here in Ohio. Was down along. They have flowers and stuff along the river, not the Old Tandy, but the Scioto River down that goes through downtown. And they have a real nice, flower garden set up down there. And he has a video of just one tulip just moving by itself. Nothing else is moving, but this one tulip in the very middle of it all was moving back and forth. And he even tried that, he was trying to prove to everybody that there was nothing, no bugs, no creature down there, moving it, that it was doing this all by itself. And it was freaky to watch that go down. And then you see the other videos that he had, and I'm like, something's going on here. Nature's saying something. It's trying to get your attention.
Yep. I believe it.
Yeah. Now, Edna's she believes that's like her and her critters, Now, do you have experience like that with critters out there, or?
Not as much. I've never lived in a. Well, I remember one time I used to practice the bagpipe.
Oh, really?
And I'd take my practice chanter outside. We had a windbreak. And I was practicing, and something come down because I stopped, and whatever this was, it just took off. But it had, and I had a friend that had a house in Lebec, and she loved Campobello Island. And so we would drive across to Campobello, and I would take my harp and I would play my harp. She'd take me to this one spot that she liked, and it was kind of a rocky cliff, but it was overlooking the ocean. And I'd sit on those rocks and I'd play my harp, and the seals would always come.
Really? Now I can see that. You've seen the video where the guy is doing the throat singing
Yeah.
with the drum, and the deer would come to him, and the critters would come, and then there's other two things that kind of show up in the background. I had a friend that did a video analyzing of that. He says whatever's in the background, the two things that are moving that look like humans, he says they're not human. He doesn't know what they are, but he says they are not human. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
They could be elf, fairy.
Yeah, because he said that if you watch the video, the way they move is not human looking. When he did the analyze, when he finally got to find the video and analyze it, he says you when you zoom in, when you do certain things, it's not human. Whatever they are they're like in spirit, because the way they show up in his analyzation, he says they're not human, but they're tall like humans. But if you watch, their eyes twinkle.
Yeah, they're Fae.
Yeah, see, that's what I said too. I said Gemma would probably do the same thing. They're Fae projecting themselves, maybe.
Well, I know on the Isle of Skye in Scotland, Dunvegan Castle, they have a tradition of the fairy wife, and she was from the Bright Folk. They're human, you know. They have human. They're humanoid. They're as tall as a human, but they are immortal.
Right.
She returned to her folk because he was aging and she wasn't.
Right.
And instead of her staying there and watching him die, he allowed her to return to her people. And then you get the story of the fairy flag of Dunvegan, Castle Dunvegan. And that banner was given to the MacLeods of Castle Dunvegan.
Yes, that I do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, the one story, if you know Lord of the Rings, I think that he actually took the relationship between Aragorn and her from that story. It's almost the exact same story. The more I watched that movie, the more it's like Tolkien knew these stories.
Yes, he did.
And implemented it into The Hobbit and everything.
Yeah, I believe that.
I honestly do too. Yeah, I really do, Edna. I'm a big Tolkien guy. Now, when I was young, that was the first books that I bought on my own was Lord of the Rings, and that was before I even knew what Fae were. I knew fairies and goblins and all that, but Gemma's the one that really kind of brought everything together for me, because when I was young, one of the first things that I was seeing were these little shadows. I mean, they were only like 2-3 feet tall, sometimes even not even that were following other kids on the playground. Were some of the first things I even saw. Now, Mom always said that she knew I was seeing stuff before that as a baby, because I would talk or try to talk to things in my room. And it wasn't much after that, when I was 2, when I started the rocking, and she blames my Tourette's on that it was stuff that I was seeing at night, which could be possible that triggered it. I don't know, but I always saw those were the first things I saw following, especially other kids, because that's who I hung around with all day, until I got older and then saw the Hat Man, and that's when that kind of just blew the lid off, and that's when I realized that I was seeing things that were following people that other people just weren't seeing. So that always made it interesting to kind of now connect a lot of things. So I had a friend, my friend Patricia, who said that, it might have been the Fae that triggered what you see, because they were probably the first thing you saw. You may even had an encounter somewhere with them that you just don't remember. And the only time I don't remember any time was in Colorado. When I went to Colorado, we went as a youth group to help build a youth center down by the Four Corners. And I wandered away. I just, went for a walk down a dirt road, and I had no idea time. All I wanted to do was reach the mountains. That was my goal. They were like calling to me. And I just started walking. I was gone for 6 hours, but I swear I was only gone for like an hour. But when I came back, it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. And I walked away. I knew it was noon when I walked away from the group, because they were eating exactly at noon. That's how I remember. And I still to this day swear I was only gone for 2 hours. And they didn't even know I was gone. When I came back, and they were like, "Oh, you're here." And I'm like, "Yeah, what time is it?" "It's dinner time." "Where have you been?" But it's like they didn't even remember I was there, which is even scarier, because when was it that I'd never come back? What I told my parents when they got back to the airport and I didn't get off the plane. "Where's our son?" "Your son was with you." And that's the attitude. It was like it's like they forgot I was even with them. Which is even more disturbing, because did something make them forget I was with them? I was just talking to a youth leader. I said, "I'm going to walk down the road here a little bit," before I even left. I remember saying, "I'm just going to take a walk down." There was like a little creek with a little tiny bridge. And I just like going looking for whatever I can find in creeks. And I just kept walking. And it's like they all forgot I was there the whole time I was gone. So what was that all about?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And it still bothers. That's the one thing that has troubled me all my life is, okay, what happened in that 5 hours? Why did these people forget I was even there? And when I came back and told Mom and Dad, they was like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, Dad, it was gone like 5 hours." They didn't even know it was gone. "Oh, it's probably because we don't usually have the money to let you guys do that," is what he said. "So then up. There you are." So they weren't even sure. He was like, maybe that's what it was so they're not used to you guys being with them.
Yeah,
Because we usually didn't participate in that stuff because we didn't have the money. But I actually got to go that time, and they weren't going to dime me. And I always wanted to go to Colorado. And ever since I went to Colorado, I've always loved Colorado. That's where my ex's grandparents are from. Lived because when we stayed at the Stanley Hotel, and that was a treat in itself. And we actually got to stay in room 213, and we didn't stay the night. She, who does not believe, was like, "Okay, we can switch rooms now." Bathroom lights kept coming on, water kept turning on, the shower would come on, and you could hear people sing it. You could hear a woman humming in the shower. And she would go, "Who's in our shower?" And I went, "Done. We only have the only door." And I was being real cool about it, but I was kind of nervous too. And finally she said, after the shower thing, we got to switch rooms. So she called down and made him switch our rooms. Now, what's the spookiest place you've ever been?
Spookiest place I've ever been. Probably my father built a new house just across the road from the house and even though it was brand new, had been built in a pasture. I mean, there'd been nobody living on that land at all.
Okay.
and it was haunted.
Was there something happened on that land?
Or it was an attachment to my father had some antique furniture in the basement, and that's where the ghost came from.
That's
Was
how they
the basement. So it might have been an attachment.
did not. And people, that's like Zach, the haunted, collects all the stuff. Not Zach. Isn't it Zach? I have a shirt. Anyways, the haunted collector. And people don't realize how attachments happen with just things. It's like dolls. Dolls are used with spirits as a way to, and demons, to draw you in. It's because it's easy to enter and exit a doll easily. And then they go to the doll, and then they work on tearing the human down through the doll to enter the human. Because the human has to be they have to be broke down before they can enter.
All right.
But yeah, things being haunted. I think I've told this story before about a lady going to a house. She finds a hat. She decides she's going to keep that hat out of this abandoned house. And the spirit that owned the hat decided, no, you're not going to take my hat, and followed her home and literally almost drove her nuts until she returned the hat. So, call them puppets. Yes. Poppets. I like that. Yeah. I've heard that too, Mike, where they have called them puppets. Hello, AK. Welcome. Also, Mike, yeah, I will check out this book. Enchantment of the Fairy Realm. I will check that out. I haven't heard of that one. Were you okay, Edna? Were you seeing dark or negative energy ghosts? With the little ones, I see both. Edna, I think when I was younger, I was seeing more dark because it kind of creeped me out. Especially after the Hat Man. That's when I really started distinguishing the good and the bad. And I was realizing that from about 5th grade to about my senior year, I think the majority of the stuff that I was seeing, following people at that time, was bad stuff. There was very few good. Then it kind of blended where I was seeing a little bit of both after that. Then, like I said, a few months ago, I was just seeing the worst things, and then it kind of chilled out. Now it's picking back up again. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? There's the man. So yeah, I mean, I see both now more than ever. Right now, it's back to seeing a little more of the bad. Now, I have seen angels follow people. I'm pretty sure that's what they were, especially with older couples. People who are like going into their 50th, 60th anniversaries that have been, you can tell that have been together since they first met. There was a couple that I see and still see to this day in a Kroger's by me, where this angel, and it's got to be an angel. It's not a relative. I finally realized it's not. And it literally, they walk hand in hand. They'll hold the cart and still hold hands on the cart. And they're probably about my dad's age, in their 90s, and still together. Still surviving together, which is something you don't see too often anymore. And every time I see them, I see this thing wrapped around them, and it's protecting those two. It's really wonderful. It always fills me up with joy and goodness when I see it. So I always hope to see them at least when I'm out and about at the store. But I haven't seen them for a month now, so I hope they're okay. I never talk to them, but I just see them. It's always just like they're always there when I'm there. Now, have you seen anything like that?
No, I don't see
I mean, have you
entities.
ever seen like an angel or
Not that I know of.
not that you know of? Yeah, I'm just gonna run chats. Ryan's here. Hello, good sir. Army of angels must surround me. Yeah, I could use some of those right now. It's been a crazy week. Trying to see if there's any questions that I missed. Yeah, I'm a big Token fan. Um, don't see any. Any guys have any questions for Vixen that you might want to know? I'm wheezing. This weather has been nuts here. I mean, those storms we got today was insane. I mean, we've had some good storms, but I think this one was the worst. I'm really surprised we didn't lose power. We actually had like tornado watches. Then all of a sudden, the tornado warnings started popping up around and east of us. I know Chris probably saw. Did you see any of this weather today, Chris? Because he's down in Cincinnati, if he's still here. Elderly couples. Yeah, there's just something about seeing people like my dad's age that are still together, that they're still both alive and they're still very much in love. Just, and then you see something like that guarding them. Always is just a blessing. I'm gonna have to shut down YouTube again. I'm glitching again. There we go. I'll just go screen like this. I just can't write in chat, folks, because I'm not gonna use Gemma's name. So what would you say was the prolific turn in your life that really got you into everything you know now?
There was a dream I had, and I was in a very dark wood, and I was headed for a beach. There was the beach was there was sunlight. The sparkling of the sunlight off the water, and there was somebody on the beach, and I was supposed to go and meet them, or that's where I was headed. But the wood was black. I mean, dark. And then I come upon this big black mass. Couldn't even tell what it was. And I had the option of going around the mass and continuing to the beach,
Right.
but I didn't. I stayed and I talked. There was no word spoken, and I don't even remember any telepathic, but I just stood there communicating with this black mass. And as the dream faded, I said in my mind, what was it I was talking to?
Right.
And I was shown the it was this big eye of a bird with black feathers all the way around it, raven.
Right.
And I didn't think much of it, after that. But then I was volunteering at a place called Game Loft, going in and playing board games with kids, as an after school program. And I went in one day, and it was weeks later. I mean, I had forgotten about the dream and everything. And the person that I worked for, his first name is Ray. He meets me and he says, I don't know why, but I had to buy this book and it was meant for you. And so I take the book, and later when I have time, I'm looking through it. And there's a picture of a giant dolmen, and sitting in the dolmen is a druid. And I said, this is my dream.
Wow.
And so since then, I've been, kind of trying to walk the path that I.
That's
So.
hey, you got to start somewhere. There's always a starting point for everybody. That what I call the light switch effect. You know, what flipped that switch in your life to make you go, okay, this is something I gotta pursue some way or another. This is the way with me. I'm sure it's the way with most people in here. That's a question I'm going to have to ask you, Ryan, next time we're together with Gemma. What was your light switch? You, I think, have told us, but I'm going to ask it anyways. They were talking about how guardian angels could all meet to have drinks because of us. It's probably true. I know my guardian angel, my lady in the light, which I call her, because I see her and she's starting to show up again. A little more frequently in my dreams, not as much as in, I don't know if it's a lucid dreaming. Everybody, I've done it ever since I was a kid because of the Rocky. So bad that I would go, you know, there's nothing worse than a 5 or a 6-year-old going days without sleep. You imagine what it is like with an adult. Usually within 3 or 4 days of an adult with no sleep, it's not pleasant. Imagine that, a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. Or even just a young child at all. And that's when these things started happening. I always figured it as astral projection. And everybody's like, well, you should have this thing attached to you. And I don't ever remember that. It's pretty much, I don't remember that. All I know is I go to sleep, I wake up, I'm standing over myself, I'm watching myself rock, and then I'm gone. Then I go wherever I want. I created a place that reminds me of Bear Lake in Colorado. That's where I go. I sit on this log bench and I just kind of enjoy the silence or the birds, whatever I have going on in that moment. And she just showed up for the first time there. But I think all the angels know each other. I really do, because the way you guys are talking in chat, yeah, it wouldn't be surprising if they all met somewhere in heaven and had a drink on us. Because I'm sure we exhaust them a lot. Spent $40 on batteries for a night vision camera and got a search for the meteor shower this week. Oh, there you go, Edna. Yeah, I bought a camera that's supposed to have night vision on it. Unfortunately, it's the weakest night vision I've ever seen. So I'm gonna have to find something to help lengthen it. So, or go out and just buy a night vision. You know, I'm a sky watcher, but I don't watch for UFOs. I watch for the other phenomenons, you know, like the eclipse. How did you get to see the eclipse?
Yes.
Now, did you get a good view? I'm sure there you probably got a good view. You guys, all that northern area was supposed to have some of the best viewing ever.
Yeah. It wasn't total. We had just the very, very slim rim of the sun,
right?
Before the moon started to pass by, but it was pretty darn close to total.
Yeah, we got to see the Ring of Fire.
No, we didn't.
We got the Ring of Fire. I was shocked because everybody's going, "Oh, you're not in totality," and I kept telling them, "Yes, we are." Even my son made it home in time to see the Ring of Fire because I think they left work early. Now, it didn't get very dark. You can see out west. If you looked west of us, you could tell it got real dark. But we got to see the Ring of Fire. And to watch my dad see that and his face light up was just amazing in itself. But it was so cool. But there is something very mystique about seeing that. When you see that Ring of Fire and that darkness and stuff, you almost, and it was weird because when my dad was looking through the glasses as the eclipse was happening, he kept saying he was seeing bright lights like orbs shooting in front of him. You could see it happening in front of the sun. And he goes, there must have been like 20 of them, and they would just all of a sudden start zooming in front of the eclipse. And he kept saying, "Don't you see that?" And I could see them, but I also had somebody streaming it on YouTube on my phone before I started taking pictures, and they were catching them too. And we couldn't tell if they were shooting stars, but we did get to see the comet, which was even cooler. When it went Ring of Fire, you could see the Devil's Comet, is what they call it. It was just a nice speck of light to our left. I think it was to our left. And then there was, I think it was Mercury or Venus, one of them on the other side of it. It was kind of neat.
Yeah. No, we didn't get any of that.
I'm trying to see. Now there's now talking music. Johnny Cash. Yeah, the Ring of Fire. It was neat. And that's why I was singing it afterwards, Ring of Fire after that. Because it was so cool to see. Because that's something last time I remember us getting a total eclipse, I was in grade school. And I remember you used to take the box and you'd poke a hole in the back of the box and you'd put either a piece of paper or aluminum foil in front of you. You'd put the box over your head and line the dot up with the sun. Then you would be able to see the total eclipse. And I remember standing in the driveway trying to adjust the box over my head. It's like when you see, there's a lot of videos out now of the people during the eclipse that were seeing the eclipse on the ground, like thousands of eclipse, the way it was coming through the leaves and the trees.
Oh, yeah.
It would cause like this really neat effect on the ground. I've seen that happen. And when I was doing it with the box, there was a tree. There's trees behind my house. So I had that going on. And I remember hearing my mom go, just take the box off and look at the ground. And I took the box off, and you could see it was like watching thousands of eclipses on the grounds. It was really cool. That I remember distinctly. And but I don't ever remember seeing that real Ring of Fire like we saw this time. And it's when it goes to that ring, there's an aura in the air. You feel it for that time. It was like 3 minutes long. And it was like you could feel the energy. You could feel like something was happening other than just the eclipse. You know what I'm saying? You could feel the mystic. I call it the mystic air, is what it felt like. That there was something very, very special about this.
Cool.
I think I might have been the only guy meditating during the eclipse. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't remember even as that kid. Like I said, I remember seeing all those reflections, but I never really saw that Ring of Fire. And it was one thing I wanted to see before I go was that Ring of Fire. And I got to see it. I'm happy. Now my next thing is to jump out of a balloon. No, just kidding. Though I haven't been, two things I do want to do. What would be one of the most important things on your bucket list you would like to do?
Travel to the British Isles.
Ooh, that would be good. That's a good one. Actually, mine is going back. I really liked Tokyo, so I would like to go back there and spend time. But I also want to take a balloon ride, and I also want to fly in a helicopter.
I've flown in a helicopter.
Oh, you have? Mm-hmm. My dad says it's cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But I always wanted to go in a balloon. I'm not afraid of heights. So, the higher the better for me. I'm more afraid of deep water for some reason. I'm not afraid of it. It's just I don't like the kitty cat. See ears coming into the scene there.
Yeah, this is Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Oh.
You see Holly?
Yeah, we were out in a boat in Florida on spring break. The guy I was with rented one of these tiny little boats and just started heading for the sea. I'm like, dude, turn back. What's out there?
This is my little baby.
How many you got?
This is Epona.
Oh, okay. You got two?
Yeah. Well, Holly just had 5 kittens.
Oh, geez. So you have more than 2.
Right now I have Holly, Epona, and Narla on the bed.
Oh, cool.
Oh, and I have one of Epona's brothers
Oh,
is
okay.
up here now. They're chasing their mom around.
Okay. And I agree, but I'm not afraid of flying for the high like you. I just don't trust planes anymore. If you see them falling apart like they are, and if I can't drive or take a bus or a train or a boat, I don't even know if I'd want to take a boat now. Forget it. I don't think I'd fly anymore. My flight back to the flight. See, my problem is I rock when I don't pay attention. It's just something that happens. And when we flew out to Colorado, when I flew to Japan, they had to basically sedate me so I wouldn't freak the passengers out rocking. And now when I went to Kansas not too long ago, I wasn't too bad going out, but coming back, I took a red eye so I could be here for Gemma. And everybody was telling me to go back anyways. And that red eye, I was real bad. And a couple of people started complaining. So they come over, would you like to take a sleeping pill? I said, that would just make me worse. And we're almost home anyways. Why is people complaining? We're just about home. It was only a couple hour flight. So we didn't even have a layover, which was unusual. But yeah, there was people in there that I think I freaked them out. So I can't do nothing about it. You know, I don't. What would happen is I'd doze off and start rocking because that's when I'm at my worst. But yeah, I don't. But now I wouldn't fly just because of the planes. What time we got here? Oh, 11:52. Hey, we went by fast.
Yes,
Would you like anything you'd like to talk about before we end the night? Anything you'd like to bring up at all?
Nothing specific.
Nothing specific. Come on, Vixen. You get to talking to everybody in chat, and now it's time to really open up, woman. I know you've been on Steve's show and everybody, so.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the Skinwalker experience that I was talking about last.
Oh, there you go. Let's end on that.
Okay, that was when I was living in Gallup, New Mexico. And I was living in this apartment building, and they were all First Nation women. There was Apache, there was Zuni, there was Navajo, and there was this one woman, and she was very nice. She helped me make a Kachina doll for my father. And she invited me out to her family's compound in it was up by Winslow, Arizona. So I went out and spent Christmas with them, and her grandfather called me a true Christian because I respected their traditions and their customs and tried to, follow their ways, respect them anyway. And we was out there, I don't know, close to a week, I guess. And then we went back to Gallup, and I got really sick. I mean, I was hallucinating, high fever.
Wow.
And I don't know how long I was sick. I have very little memory of it, just that I was. And when I recovered, I was weak. I was weak for, it was a long time before I had any strength. I'd get up in the morning, and by late afternoon, I had to go back to bed. I was just,
wow.
I had no stamina. And one day, one of the other girls come in and she said that I had been poisoned, that my friend that I had spent Christmas with out with her family was a Navajo witch, and she had poisoned me. And they got me out of Arizona. I moved to Idaho, and I was in Idaho about 7 months, and then I come back to Maine. My father was going through cancer. I was homesick, and so, and then I get a letter from the girl that had told me that this woman had been a Navajo witch, that this woman was now dead. She had been killed in her bed, and her house had been burned down around her. Yeah.
Did that end everything? Did you take it? You got better after that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it took a while before I had any stamina and strength. I was sick for a long time, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of the magic you don't mess with either. Did they ever find out why she did it?
Well, to become a Navajo witch, to become a skinwalker, you're first a witch, and then to the ritual to become a skinwalker.
You have to do somebody in.
Yeah, you either have to kill a very close member, a sister, a niece. She had nieces. She had very young nieces, or you have to kill a friend. And
So
she probably did.
You.
Yeah, she probably didn't dare go after family because her grandfather was a Holstein, and so she probably didn't dare touch family.
Right, that would have been a no-no.
And I was alone. I was a stranger, and nobody would miss.
Holy crap. That's a wow. I mean, your chat's going nuts.
Yeah.
So how long, what was the time span of this, may I ask?
Pardon?
I mean, from the time she befriended you, did she just kind of, hey, how you doing? And was it like she worked her way into your life?
Yeah, I mean, we were sharing a room in this boarding house. She was a roommate, and yeah.
Holy crap! I'm kind of stunned. I mean, you're the first real person I've ever stumped that direct.
Yeah.
And that's wild. Hey, Ryan, you got any questions? Because I know your mouth is hanging open. I know he saw some of this. This is what you were talking about last Wednesday when we couldn't get you in the stream because it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Ryan, you have any questions before we call it a night? What a way to end the night. Because I should have opened that way. But I think this was a perfect way to end this. Okay, here we go. This is why I say don't tamper with the. I'm not even gonna say it. You everyone tries.
No, I won't say that word.
She won't say it at all. But yes, they are no joke, no crap, man. So let me see if I get this right. After she befriended you, did you started getting sick then, right? Not much after, or after?
No, it was after I spent Christmas with her and her family.
Okay.
We come back after Christmas, and I fell ill.
Wow.
I remember the hallucination. I dreamt that I had died, and a bronze plaque had been laid over my grave. The plaque covered my grave completely, and I could feel the grass trying to grow up through the plaque. This bronze plaque, I could feel the grass trying to grow.
Oh my God. Here, Ryan does. So, sure. So, did this woman look strange at all? Was there
Yeah.
any indication of what she was?
No, totally human.
Wow.
Totally human.
My granny was absolutely a healer. She would go into the woods with some potion plaster to heal you, I believe. They probably would have tried that. If you'd still stayed, the better ones would have tried to heal you with more natural medicine. I would believe that.
I even now I feel maybe I should go and see a Navajo healer to see if there is anything residual.
That's not actually a bad idea. You agree now before he answers this, he says, how do you think she poisoned you? Was it something she fed you? Maybe something you touched?
I know that there is a poison that Navajo witches do use, and they can either feed it to you or blow it on you.
Wow. He's asking, and then he says, I'm guessing she told you a made up name, and if you knew her real name, her power would have been weakened. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you know their real name, you can stop them. But
yes.
I didn't have to. She was suspected of being a witch. She had been accused of being a witch, of poisoning me, and somebody took care of it.
Now, Ryan says it's called the corpse power.
Yes.
Okay. Now, just so you know, Ryan, she won't say certain things, which I understand. What do you think about her seeing a Navajo healer to see if there's anything? Iris asked if somebody offed her. Was she taken care of? Was that what happened? Or do you know how the house burned around her?
Yeah.
No. So we don't know.
Only that she was found dead in her bed, and the house had been burned down.
Wow. Yeah, he says he thinks it's a good idea too. So do I. That probably would not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's saying the same thing. So we're all thinking the same lines. Because that's pretty wild. I mean, I've heard some crazy stuff. Because I met a trucker who believes that he had the same thing happen to him. He was at a reservation in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's where they're from. Yeah.
And he got real close to a guy. And every time he'd come through, he would just have this gentleman would ask him to stay with him. They didn't, just become a buddy.
Yeah.
And then he got real sick. I never thought maybe that's why he got sick. But he got sick to the point where he was hospitalized. But some reason, he said all of a sudden he got better. So I'm wondering if the same thing happened to him and something happened to the person that tried to poison him, do the same thing, passed away, because he said, he was like, I was sick. They thought I was going to go. And then all of a sudden I was better again.
Yep.
Because the doctors don't understand it. I don't know what happened. But it was like after the last time he had saw the guy, he said the guy was acting really weird. And when he left, the guy was talking to him like he would never be back. When he left, he goes, well, you take care of yourself, maybe we'll see each other in the future. It was really weird. He said the last conversation with him before he left was really strange.
Yep.
It was like he would do, yeah.
And if the Dene suspects somebody of being a witch, and they can prove that they are, they will not let them stand.
Wow. Now, he says if she can't get hold of Dine
A
Healer,
Dene.
then my brother William Nighthawk is a Lakota. Lakota. Yeah, I was just going to correct myself. Shaman. He can help you. So keep in touch with Ryan.
I will do that.
If you need information, just let me know, Vix, and I can mail it to you.
No, I know. I've been trying to get out to Arizona and New Mexico but work schedule and stuff. But yeah, if I can make a go of it, I will. I do want to go out, and I do want to talk to a healer, and see what, if anything, needs to be done.
Yeah. I can. Are you on Facebook? You're on Facebook,
Yeah.
aren't you? No, I didn't think you were. I'll email you his contact information.
Okay.
And because I'm pretty sure I have Ryan's email too. If not, I'll get it from him, and he can put it in chat, and we can make sure you get that, and you guys can talk.
Okay.
And he can set you up, because that's not a bad idea. I totally agree. If I knew it was that intense, because I saw the conversation last Wednesday.
Right.
But you see me trying to keep kind of tabs of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. That's intense. What a way to end a show. Do you still feel like it bothers you or haunts you?
No, and I know I have protectors. I've been on several shamanic journeys. My primary um, animal guide is the fox. My inner child has a companion, a black bear.
Really?
And dragon has come into my life. I have a dragon. So I know I have protectors. I pray to the creator, and so I know I'm surrounded by love and protection. So it doesn't bother me that much. I just wonder if I should sometimes.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt to, kind of make sure those, as I like to say, the slate's wiped clean, make sure there's nothing in the background.
Right.
There's always a residue.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I still experience with the Hat Man. I still experience with the demon that I encountered at the apartment complex. In fact, that residue is really strong. Me and Thomas, he's my preacher friend. He really kind of helps me kind of keep that at bay, because I had direct contact with this thing. I was standing in its presence. He says, dude, it's going to be hard to wash away, because that thing did not like you trying to protect that person.
Yeah.
And it didn't like me trying to protect him. So yeah, he dropped an email for you for Outlook. I'm gonna go back later and I'll write it down and I'll mail it to you.
Okay.
And
Thank
that's
you.
to his brother.
Okay.
Trying to look at anything else. Hello, Miss Cindy Lee. How are you doing, honey? I'm glad you've been listening. Slow motion, you have totem readings done. Ooh, some people, I've never had a totem reading. Is that interesting? I've never heard of that. Is there a totem reading called a totem reading? What's that? I've never heard of that. Why have I never heard of that? You've had totem readings done? I want to know what those are. Not easy to come by in Ireland. I guess they would be kind of hard to come by in Ireland, but if you've had one, I want to know what that is. I've never heard of that. How do you find out what my animal spirit is? Everybody,
Shamanic journeys. I've done mine through. There's a YouTuber. He does tarot card readings, but he's studying to be a shaman. His name is Danny Shea. Bathrobe Tarot, Danny Shea. And every Sunday he does Sunday with Spirit program. And sometimes he does guided shamanic journeying. And that's where I met Bear.
oh wow.
We was doing a shamanic journey for our inner child, and Bear came. But that's how Dragon has just shown up. I didn't have to do any kind of shamanic journeying for
We have
that.
a tendency to do that just
He
to show
just-
about the blue.
Yeah, he just that first showed up. When he first showed up, he just laid his chin on my right shoulder.
Ah, cool.
And then he was behind me with his wings kind of folded around my arms, like a protective. And then sometimes it curls up on my chest with his head resting on my shoulder.
Oh, that's cool. Eris, yes,
Right.
you can have up to 5. A long time ago, my Chinese symbol is the rabbit. So I always thought that was your spirit animal. And a friend of mine, he was an odd guy, and he said, "No, Steve, your spirit animal are amphibians. Toads, frogs, salamanders, and newts are your spirit animals." And I said, "Why do you say that?" He goes, "Steve, what do you do when you go into the woods? The first thing you look for are salamanders and newts. You always look for frogs. You always look for toads. Those have been your focal point all through your life. I have toads in a tank. I have salamanders. I have newts." He goes, "Those are your spirit animals because you're always attracted to them. They always seem to come to you. You go out with 5 people looking for them. You're the one that comes back with the most." And he says, "Those are your spirit animals."
Yeah. And Raven must be one of mine too, because that's what I saw in the dream about the dolmen and the shaman.
Right.
Druid was a raven.
Raven. Now, and she talked about it just now about owls.
Yeah.
I can tell Edna right now that owls are one of her spirit animals.
Yep.
Right off rip.
Yep.
I knew that as soon as she started talking about them. I had seen them in my head watching her. I've also seen other critters like coons and deer, and I've seen other smaller critters watching her, chipmunks and stuff. I see that sometimes when I'm around her, these animals watching her, not her watching them watching her, which is really weird for me. And she's one of the few people that I've done that with, and I've never had done that. Well, a couple people. There was this one guy, I couldn't understand why I'd have dreams about him, but I was always seeing him in the air. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was like I was always looking down on him in this dream. And then I realized that was a bird. I just still to this day don't know what bird I was that was watching him, which was really weird too. I get those every so often, but I haven't talked to him for a long time. He lives in Hawaii now. He's right. It's true. And it is true. And it was funny because you brought up the chipmunk, like you're there coming out of hibernation. I have seen those type of little critters. Actually, Pammy Smith, this is going to sound weird about Pam Smith, but I've seen things watching her too. But this is going to sound weird. It's like looking through a rodent's eyes. I see them crawling around in like logs and stuff. It's weird. There's a reason for everything, Ghosty. Yeah, I know. I'm a weird person anyways. I don't deny it. Here we go. Good old Ryan. With all this talk of spirit animals, you and I should discuss the 7 grandfathers' laws, Ghost. Ooh. Do you know those, Vixen?
No.
That would be a good topic. Bring that up we'll discuss them with Gemma next Tuesday, since she's made you a permanent fixture on Tuesdays now. Yes, I would like to discuss that. In fact, I'm going to make sure I write that down.
So now I'll research that too.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, that'd be a good topic. I'll have to, because it's weird, because when you start talking about spirit animals, I've heard the ways you guys have discussed, but it's like this friend of mine who just said, no, you got amphibians. Those are your spirit animals. And he's nobody. He's not like a Reiki or, into any of this stuff. He's just a regular guy who like me, every so often something just comes out of his mouth out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? It just like flows out and you're like, that makes sense. These are here we go. These are the principles of living. It teaches us how to treat others, to treat this world. Codes of conduct for our Mother Earth and Father Sun. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Mike, I learned a long time ago that there's a reason for everything and everything is connected. And a lot of people don't get that and say, oh, not everything's connected, but everything is connected. Yep. In one form or another, we're all connected in one little slight. It's all like a web and it's all connected. Okay, what time we got here? We're at 12:17. I'm going to go ahead and call it for the night because I'm starting to wheeze. I need to take some medicine. The tremors are starting to kick in. Any last words, Vixen?
No, it was nice being on and talking to you, Ghost.
It was a pleasure. Believe me, you're more than welcome to come back now that we've gotten kind of
Trophy ice.
Yes, we can connect even more, and I like that. I always say the first interview is the hardest. The first talk, the first meeting is always the hardest. What do you say? Here, I'm trying to leave, Ryan. Stop. The principle of honesty will be Gemma's favorite. It's represented by the Kachi say Bigfoot. Okay.
So big, so big.
That makes kind of sense. Okay. Well, let's let you guys go. And I'm going to go. Vixen, thank you very much for showing up. Now that we got past the awkward part, it should be a lot better next time. Yep. Now I know a little bit more what to ask. I know always welcome. I'd still like to get Edna on here. Good old Edna, get Edna in here because I'd like to get her at the public. I want to talk to her. She says her guardian angel's probably exhausted. I'm sure it is. But it's doing its job. You got to remember that, Edna. Folks, it was so great to have you all with us tonight. Again, thank you, Vixen, very much for joining me. I'm glad it worked out so much better now. Well, with the internet, so that's a good thing. And I want everybody to see me on the flip side. Now, remember, Pixie is on tomorrow night at 8. So we'll be happy to see her again. Let's kind of protect her in case anybody crazy shows up again. Gemma will be here Friday night at 7:15. And then I'll be here Saturday night for Gemma's replay. I don't know how much longer I'll do Gemma's replay. Now that I got everything posted on Rumble and here, I am now posting live stuff over there too, replays to see how they're doing, and they seem to be doing really good. You know, Ryan, I posted the last few days with you, and they're doing really good. So I'm gonna start posting that. She wants me to post some Oracle stuff too. I'll probably post this, Vixen, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
And we'll go from there. So please, Vixen, you have a wonderful night.
You too, and everybody in chat. Hi. Goodbye. Night.
Let you go and get you out of the room, and I'm going to shut down. But again,
Okay.
thank you very much. And go ahead and say goodnight again since I interrupted you. Okay. Folks, it was awesome. Don't look into his eyes. He'll give you... Stop it, Edna. That was awful. I can imagine what that looked like. Everybody have a wonderful night. And thank you all for showing up. It was a little awkward, but now that it always is with me. I'm awkward anyway. So hopefully when we have her back on, it will be a lot more smoother. We can talk a little bit, not so much dead space. I was not sure if it was going to work tonight. And I really didn't ask her pre-ahead time poke. Tricked you, ghosts. I saw your eyes. Uh-oh. Hope you didn't see anything too scary, Edna. Please have a wonderful night. I had a great night tonight. I hope you folks did too. We'll have her back on. She's welcome anytime. I'm gonna maybe once in a while just post the offer a couple people in chat to come in and post the link or send you the link. Eris, I would like to have you on at one time. Mike, I wouldn't mind having on one time. There's quite a few of you here that I would love to have you on either with me or Gemma. So, let us know if you're interested, okay? I would just like to have Edna all to myself. Yes, she was. And she's like Laura a lot with the crystals and stuff. So hopefully next time I can get a little more into that. Actually, I think her and Pixie would do great together one night talking with each other. So yeah. I don't know if this is my face. Stop it. Well, you get to look into my eyes then maybe it might see what scares you. Then it won't give you the plague either. But see, my ear's been ringing, so I know you've been talking about me. So it goes both ways, woman. Have a wonderful night. I knew what you meant. I knew it was a typo. I don't know if my mouth doesn't say it, but my face will. Yeah, it will. I knew what you were saying. Have a good night, folks. I'm going to go ahead and blow out of here. Thank you again, Vixen, if you're still watching. It was great. A good first time. I mean, like I said, first time to me is just like, no, we won't go there. Anyways, have a wonderful night, folks. And I'll see you. I'll be in the background for Pixie tomorrow night, like always. So I'll see you folks tomorrow night at 8 with Miss Pixie. And then Friday for Gemma. And we'll go from there. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Have a wonderful day tomorrow, folks. Get some rest. Edna, you get some rest. All of you folks get some pleasant rest. And those who are on the other side of the big pond there, you have a wonderful day. Thank you again. I can't thank you guys enough for showing up. Just make sure you hit the like on your way out. Leave a comment, please. Donations and the tips help, so please help. We're trying to keep the station going. I'm trying to get the channel really cranking now. Everybody, I'll shut up now. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night. All that wonderful stuff. See you on the flip side. Take care.